of companies are losing huge amounts of money to it, because once they get your info, they could blackmail you, they could ask for like they could ask for a lot of things from you just for you to get that information back. So that is what cybercrime actually entails.
Okay, Maria, still looking at cybercrime, and he mentioned hacking,
Yes.
mentioned identity theft. These are
Yes.
types. What other types?
Okay, there is one commonly known as phishing, and it's a situation where they send email to the recipient asking the recipient to disclose a particular information, or asking the recipient to disclose a particular information, or they also threaten the recipient that if he or she does not disclose such information, they are going to deny that recipient from a particular service and all stuff. And so such messages are threatening, and if you oblige them, you give them such information, they are going to use it against you. They will use it to maybe block your, use it to defraud you, get money from your account and all that. So that is phishing. Then there is another one called scamming. Scamming is just an illegal and fraudulent act perpetrated by the use of the computer. Here involves the use of mobile phones, smartphones and the rest of them. So this is very very detrimental to people that fall victim to it, because you just feel that, oh, this is nothing, you are doing it innocently, you don't know the implication, and then the other person knows what he or she is doing, and if you are not careful, they use that to mess you up, they use that to steal information from you, which will be detrimental to you. So there is phishing, there is scamming, and um, um,
You already talked about what is it called? What of child pornography?
Yes, it's actually a cybercrime because
Okay.
it's an illegal, how it's illegal content, and it actually constitutes part of is under the categories of what cyber crimes are. Yes, when people hold such kind of information like child pornography, and it's said that they distribute it through dark web. I don't know that you've heard of dark web before. It's a part of the internet that can only be accessed by a VPN, or let's call it a Tor browser. So a lot of nefarious activities happen there. That's where you actually find the coven of all these black hats hackers. These are the ones that are always up to no good. So child pornography, yes, is actually a part. It's actually a part of cybercrime. And another type we know is social engineering. I think this one happens a lot in our country. In where someone calls you up, tries to be familiar with you, they tell you that they are a customer care agency of a service you don't even use, like First Bank,
Mm.
for example. And you deep down you know that, okay, I don't bank with First Bank, so how did this person get my number? And then if you're gullible enough, like that was actually the case for a lot of Nigerians at the time, you give them your BVN and other details unknowingly, and at the end you start seeing debit alerts from where you don't know, from where you don't understand now, and at the end it constitutes a major problem for you. So it's really bad, honestly. It's just, I don't know, it's terrible.
Okay. Well, aside being bad, it's a crime. So
It's
let's go to the law aspect of it.
yeah.
Maria, what does the act say? The Cybercrime Act of 2015.
okay. In Nigeria, we have Cyber Crimes Prohibition Prevention Act of 2015, and this law seeks to detect, prosecute, and also punish offenders, people who perpetrate cyber crimes in Nigeria. This act provides a lot of punishment, because there are different categories of acts or crimes that can be committed, and that's why it's known as cyber crimes. It's not just one. There's identity theft, there is child pornography, and different types of crimes that can be committed, and this act explained and provided punishment for each of these crimes. So the first one is identity theft. The act provides a term of 3 years imprisonment or 7 million naira option of fine. And then in the case of child pornography, the act provides a term of 10 years imprisonment or 20 million naira as option of fine. And then there are other offences, and the act also provides death penalty if the offender tampers with any government security or any computer that has a government network. That one attracts death penalty. So the act is very, very enormous, provides a lot of punishment for people that indulge in cybercrime, and that is why we are calling on the youth this evening to desist from such acts, because and they are detrimental. They will not only destroy your life, but they will mess you up. Like, your life will become nothing once you are caught. The law in Nigeria is very active. Once you are caught, you'll be punished, you'll be prosecuted. So in order to avoid being prosecuted, it's better you stay away from cyber crimes. Use your time productively to engage in activities that will be beneficial to the society and to you as an individual. Rather, if you are gifted, you are endowed, use your gift to do things that will be beneficial to the society, and not to use it to destroy yourself. So that's just the advice for youth this evening.
Well, the concern is still that we have this act in existence, but we still talk about the high rate of cybercrime. And a 25-year-old writer, Commonwealth correspondent, his name is Nabugu Chukwebuka, stumbled on his write-up, and he said the high rate of cybercrime in Nigeria can be linked to the absence of sufficient laws to prevent and punish these crimes in the country. But we have the act, so where is the problem coming from?
Yes, let me address that concern. I don't think the problem is as a result of weak laws and policies in Nigeria, because for me, the Cybercrime Prohibition and Prevention Act of 2015 is sufficient for that, and is very active too, as we have institutions like the EFCC, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the ICPC, and other agencies that are also into prosecution of offences such as this. So the problem is not about laws or weak policies, but the problem is, I think, it's a systemic problem. Now, if you look at Nigeria as a society, there is unprecedented rate of unemployment. The youths are unemployed, and then these youths, they are human beings. They have needs that they have to meet up with. Majority of people that are unemployed are graduates, and their families are looking up to them.
Is it justifiable?
What I'm trying to say now is that the society itself gives room for this.
Okay.
Yes, assuming everything is working out fine. I'm not saying that the government should employ everybody, but the rate of unemployment is, and if, for instance, government should create more jobs for the youth. Once the youth are gainfully employed, they have something distracting them from using the computer to commit crime. At least that will go a long way to reduce the menace or the situation in the country. But a situation where youth are just working endlessly, nothing to fall on, they must survive. They will look for something to survive. So the problem is not as a result of weak laws or policies, but the problem is that the society itself has not been favorable to youth.
Dozier, let's even talk about the youth who is at home, or who is at home because the schools are not open.
Yeah.
It's open for those in exam classes. So for those who are not in exam classes, for instance, and they're at home, they are open. Not every one of them, though, but there are schools that decided to engage their pupils online. So how do you address those particular youth?
Well, at least, let's say I'm happy. At least they are using their time. They're using their time well. Just like my learned colleague said, it's due to the whole unemployment thing. That's why a lot of youth go into cybercrime. But at the same time, I think there's always a choice. There's always a choice. I believe that most youth go into cybercrime due to greed, if we are to say the truth, because I will not lie, it's actually very, very lucrative. It is very lucrative. So these youths, when they see their fellow peers, after a while, maybe they just entered on they started engaging in cybercrime, and after a while, like let's just say a month or two, they start making it, and they look at themselves and like, what are they doing? The educational sector is not helping them, like nothing is going on, and they are just at home. So they begin to, I don't know, they just start, a lot of thoughts start creeping into their heads, and before you know it, they engage in such acts too. So yes, the government is to be blamed, but if you ask me, it's actually a personal decision, a personal choice. We can actually do something. You can go to, like, there are a lot of online courses you can use in fortifying yourself. there's a lot of good ICT courses, because if you agree with me that ICT is a way forward now for a lot of youths. So once you engage in those courses, once you engage in online courses, a lot of them, before you know, you can do, and there are a lot of things you can do actually on the internet. And the internet has a lot of perks, and at the same time, it has a lot of advantages too.
All right.
Yes.
All right, you're listening to People's Forum on 92.5 Enugu Stream FM. We're talking about cybercrime, and the focus this evening is on the youth listening to us. The purpose also is to engage you positively while you cannot do without the internet. We seem not to, these days it's as if we cannot do without the internet, because a lot of things we do in offices, at home now, for those who are studying from home, we use the internet. So the most important thing for you to do is to engage positively and not to go the other way and, of course, commit cybercrime, which has consequences. Stay with us on People's Forum.
Youth arise against crime. Crime has destroyed the beautiful destiny of our youths. But the time has come to mobilize youth against crime, to say no to those things that kill us, and to say yes to those things that build us. We have resolved to make the difference. We have mobilized to fight crime. Youths, say no to crime.
This message is brought to you by the Carmelite Prisoners Interest Organization, CAPIO, with funding support from Mission Cara, Ireland.
You dream it, we'll bring it.
You're checking out
92.5 FM.
Youth arise against crime. Crime has destroyed the beautiful destiny of our youths. But the time has come to mobilize youth against crime, to say no to those things that kill us, and to say yes to those things that build us. We have resolved to make the difference. We have mobilized to fight crime. Youths, say no to crime.
This message is brought to you by the Carmelite Prisoners Interest Organization, CAPIO, with funding support from Mission Cara, Ireland.
What is it with our politicians today? Nobody is making any sense.
Now, only politicians, even we never show us this money.
But you
don't have good jobs. How can you?
Your views, your thoughts, your perspective. This is People's Forum.
Thank you for staying with us on People's Forum. It's 92.5 Enugu's Dream FM. So before we went on the break, we've been talking about cybercrime and the effects on youths. Yes, this is a campaign against crime that is being driven by Carmelite Prisoners Interest Organization, CAPIO. Time in the studio is 5:23 p.m. I have Dozie Obaye here in the studio, ICT officer, CAPIO, and Maria Boje, a legal officer with CAPIO. So you've already talked about the different types of cybercrime and the fact that there is a law. There are consequences actually for people who indulge or engage in cybercrime. Now, we're also looking at enablers, because earlier you said greed. Does I remember you said greed?
Yes.
Then you said unemployment, Maria, that the government not providing the enabling environment, could drive one to self-help, such as engaging in cybercrime. What about supervision? For the youth who are at home and they have the access, more like unlimited access to the internet, and they are not supervised, is it also something to look at, Maria?
Yeah, it is something to look at. In this era of high technological advancements, students are encouraged to possess smartphones, laptops, and they also have limitless internet access and the rest of them. So they need to be supervised by their parents and people who are above them. You don't just give them this facility and you relax, because students these days are very smart. You look at a child, the child is 15, is 14, you think that child does not know anything, but by the time you leave that device with the child, for after a few hours, the child is already doing magic with it. So there is need for parents to know what their children are doing when they give them things like that, because if you allow them unsupervised, some of them just go to places that they are not supposed to go. They use it to do especially this period where private schools especially are into virtual teaching and the rest of them. I know of a story where a child was given a phone and the child started using it to post things online and all that, and these things are not good. The parents did not know it. It was somebody else that saw the things that the girl was posting and reported to the parents. So it is good for parents to if you want your child to have that phone, for instance, you have to make sure there is nothing like Facebook, there's nothing like WhatsApp, and there's no app there that the child can use to do one or two things that may be detrimental to the child.
Some of them do classes on WhatsApp.
Yes. Oh yeah, there should be WhatsApp, but you should know the numbers or what the contacts in that WhatsApp, and there should be other social media platforms should not be there, and some other apps, because some students from discussions or interactions with their mates or contemporaries, they use that information to do things on the internet that may be detrimental to them. So parents should not just give them this smartphone, give them data and go and relax, thinking that that child is really doing what he or she is supposed to be doing at that particular time. Some of them are more smarter than we think. They do things that are beyond an imagination or beyond their age, so to say.
Okay.
So there is need for parents to supervise what their children are doing with these smartphones they have this period.
Okay, Dozie, what other ways can supervision be achieved?
Well, the best way for me, like, okay, when I was younger, my parents, they usually allocated a specific time for us to use our phones and any other electronic gadget that brings us entertainment and all that. And secondly, like, for me, I think a child should be given a phone once they reach the age of 17 or 18. At least by then, their minds are already equipped. They're already they are ready to face the world and all that.
That's your personal submission.
No, that's my personal submission.
You know, this period, children beyond 14, children I think beyond 14, they are using phone to do their lesson now.
Yeah, that's
even less than 14.
Less than 14,
they have parental guidance.
Yes, they use phone now to do their lesson, their own lesson.
That's how I was saying. Yeah, COVID-19. The whole allocated time thing.
Yeah, so yes, that's just it.
Okay.
So like I was saying, you allocate a specific time. Okay, if you know that this is the period when they are meant to have their classes, once it's done, you take the phones back from them, unless if there's another thing they need to use the phone for, like, and it has to be an educational purpose, not just any. I don't know, for like entertainment purposes and the rest. To me, that's actually the best way, because if you say let you try and use a software, like my colleague said, these kids are very smart. They are very, very smart. Like, they could use, how will I put it now, they could find a loophole in that software they're using to monitor them, and they will just, okay, like for iPhones now, there's this thing called screen time. You could, if your child has an iPhone and you have an iPhone, you could log into his if both of you are sharing an Apple ID, you could look at what he or she is actually doing through the screen time, and you can actually lock access to the kind of apps he or she is using. But at the time that feature came out, after a while, parents noticed that their kids were actually bypassing those hours. So like I said, these people, they are very smart. So the best way is to take away those devices once they don't need them. Just take it away.
Okay, just to add to what you said, like the instance I gave earlier, that child was using the phone for what he shouldn't use it for.
Exactly.
During lesson period. During lesson period, the child was given that phone to do his virtual classes and all that. Rather than the child to listen to or to go for the classes, the child was now using it for something else. So there's really need for parents to supervise what their children are doing.
Okay, I wanted to ask before you came up with that aspect. Usually when we were younger, when your parents say, "Don't watch this movie,"
Yes,
they don't
that
explain to you,
Yes.
or they say, "Give me this phone. You're not going to use it beyond so and so hour." And then, just like you said, Maria, the person now started using it to indulge while the classes, within that
Yes.
time that was given or that was permitted for him or her to use it. What about educating the youth, whether parents at home or having, just like Capi is doing now, what about educating them on the dangers of cybercrime?
Yes, that's actually a very good idea. Like for people in ICT, most especially those that specialize in cybercrime. In cybersecurity. Yes, they could host seminars, they could hold conferences for kids, for adults equally, and enlighten them on the dangers of cybercrime, the need to secure your devices, the need also to supervise your children whenever they are with these electronic devices. Actually, a lot can be done. It's a collaborative effort. It's a very big collaborative effort. If everyone can just come together, think of ways like host these meetings, host these conferences. Even now, we're in a pandemic, we could do things like, there are a lot of Zoom meetings coming up and all that. So we could, it's the possibilities are endless. So yes.
Okay, Maria.
Yes. Sensitization is another way to go, because if you just allow your child without telling the child the danger of doing a particular thing and why the child shouldn't do that particular thing, the child makes mistake without knowing. So there is need for parents to sensitize their children, especially this period when they are at home and they are receiving lesson, they are doing other things with their phone. Some of them did not have access to phone before now, but due to the situation, they have been given phone, and the fact that they are just having the opportunity now, they want to do a lot of things that they have been hearing about, they have heard friends talk about, and they want to explore, they want to know what is happening in the cyberspace. So there is need for parents to sensitize their children, to enlighten them, to educate them on the dangers of doing a particular thing and why they should stay away from it, because there's a high level of cyber sex now, and also cyber pornography and the rest of them. You see children posting pictures that they shouldn't post on different social media handles and all that. Some of them do it for the fun of it. They don't know that it has an attendant effect or consequences. They just do it thinking they are catching fun and all that. So parents need to tell them that if you do this, this is the punishment. If you do this, you have to stay away from it. Don't tarnish somebody's image and all that, because children these days are very smart.
All
so
right.
they need to be properly guided.
Join the conversation on People's Forum. We are live on a TriCast, yes, like Alex would call it, on Facebook 925 Dream FM. The Twitter handle is at Dream925 FM. On YouTube, Dream TV Enugu. Join us there as well. Twitter handle at Dream95 FM. Investor Ike is there. Ezadike Chuku. Okay, Ezadike Chuku, I hope I got that. It as well, he said, cybercrime and all. May our politicians show a good example? Crime is crime, but I wish the narrative is changed. Okay, still here on the Twitter handle, I have Goldie, all right, who said, speaking on cybercrime, somebody argued that many youths engage in it because of greed. That's a dossier. What are your thoughts on this? Okay, you're asking a question there. And Amechi Ezekiel said, cybercrime should not be promoted, but Nigerian politicians force many youths into it. When they siphon all these funds we hear about every day without thinking about the masses. No conducive environment for business. Nothing. All right, what do you expect? That's the question he put there, Amechi Ezekiel. 0809888925 or 0902 00200925. Hello, good evening. Are you there? Good evening to you. Okay. On the Facebook page. You can join us there in case your call doesn't come through. I don't know what's happening to the phone lines, but we have Damien Edunwa on the Facebook live stream who said it's really heartbreaking to see our youths defrauding their fellows. To me, there is no justification for that. They are solely responsible for their actions. The they employed, or the creativity rather, they employed or to carry out such actions can also be harnessed well and put into good meaning inventions. Government can't do everything for us. It's true that government has failed its citizens, but that would not be the reason to venture into that. Talking about the effects, it has overreaching effects on the victims, as many have committed suicide and gone into depression after realizing that they have been duped. International communities have negative remarks on Nigerian youths because of this as well. Well, thank you for that comment. 0809 888 or 0902 00200925. Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining us on People's Forum. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, you need to be more audible, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is George. I'm calling you from Kogi State.
George, welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. Listen, my contribution is let parents teach their children God-fearing. You remember those days when a child hear anything that my auntie is passing, my master is passing, that child will be afraid of the teacher. The child will be afraid of the father. The child will be afraid of the mother. We got lost when we lost the God parental life. The God parental life that lead us when we are childhood. Please let our parents go back to the drawing board. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George, for your contribution. On the Facebook page 925 Dream FM, Michael the Good said, good evening. Cybercrime, okay, to Nigerians is even better than the crime our political organs engage in. Right? So, for example, I'm a soldier from Ojo Barracks, Lagos. They have assigned us to Edo State for the upcoming election there. If not for security purpose, I would have sent you a video. All right, lack of job, hunger can make any Nigerian youth do anything to achieve his or her aim. But my advice for my fellow youths is that for us to work harder and pray over it. It go soon better. Army. Thank you for that, Michael. Hello, good evening. 0809 888 You need to be more audible so we can hear you. Good evening.
Hello, good evening. My name is
Isaac.
Yeah.
IK, your voice is pretty low, IK. Please call the other line if that did not work for you. 0809 888 Still on the Facebook page, Oka Kingsley Okukwe, thank you for joining us. He said, cybercrime has been the only... Okay, I'm trying to find out what you said. The only lucrative job for our young lads. Well, it's not. Really, I don't know why you feel that way. They believe that since government cannot provide job opportunities for them, they can go the extra mile to have their daily bread. Cybercrime can only be reduced if our politicians stop embezzling and extorting money or exporting money overseas. Our leaders are not helpful in that regard. A country where one person is richer than the whole country through the country's wealth. Okay, thank you for your submission here on the Facebook page 925 Dream FM. I'll take your comment shortly. Chino Sumbamara 0809 888 Hello, good evening. Okay, Chinosun Bamara, we got you there. I do not blame the youth for their actions when you talk about cybercrime. The government has refused to put in place structures for youths to exhibit their skills. Also, no employment put in place for millions of graduates. I don't blame the youths, but cybercrime is bad for anyone to involve themselves with. 0809 888 Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Welcome. What's your name, sir? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Reverend Father Ambrose, because I'm calling from NBD and Jabez.
Oh, welcome, Padre. Go ahead.
Yes, I want to say kudos to my colleagues in the studio there who are doing justice to the topic. I just want to chip in something. I don't know whether they are afraid to mention this, because we work with correctional service in Nigeria, and we know the situation of things happening in our custodial centers across the country. The truth is that even inside the custodial centers, a lot of people are engaged in social engineering and cyber crime. So there is a lot of fraudulent activities going on inside our custodial centers, places that are supposed to be places of rehabilitation or corrections, as their name has become now. So, and this is because they are using phones, very high-end phones. Because whether how they come in is because it's not even legally allowed. But then these phones find its way inside the custodial centers and in the hands of these criminal elements. And you see, what is quite disturbing is that these people are already arrested for one offense or another, and then they look at themselves as already on the ground. So he who is on the ground fears no fall, as they say. So government really needs to do something about this. I have had opportunity to discuss this with the executive governor of Enugu State to find a way of ensuring that these phones that are smuggled inside the custodial centers are not allowed to function. You can jam these networks so that even if they bring in tons of phones inside there, they cannot use it. A lot of people are fallen victims of these people, and because they are just going to found their trade on check.
Okay.
So I call on relevant authorities to do something to ensure that people, unsuspecting victims, will be protected. From the onslaught of these people.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you very much, Reverend Father Ambrose Ekereko, for calling in. That's the executive director of CAPIO. Now, he said that the custodial centers have become breeding grounds for cybercrime, which is worrisome. Just like the saying that he that is down needs fear no fall, and it's quite an alarming. Is an alarming one. What do you think? What do you think about that development, Maria?
Yeah, the development is a very worrisome one, in the sense that majority of the youth now indulge in crime, in cyber crime. It's a very worrisome one. So there is need for a reorientation on the part of the people.
That's for the custodial centers now.
Okay, for the custodial centers.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
People who are already arrested for crimes perhaps that they committed, or for those who are even there unjustly, but somehow they are there, and then you hear of people smuggling in phones and cybercrime going on even in custodial centers.
Okay, there is need for the authorities to monitor what is going on there. I know that the use of phone is not allowed in the custodial centers, but I don't know how the inmates get the phones that they use to perpetrate all sorts of crimes and all stuff. So there is need for the authorities to beef up their security, to make sure that no inmate has any phone that they use in the facility. They should go around and check and get these phones from them. I think that will go a long way to reducing such incidents in the custodial centers, because there was a time we had something very, very worrisome coming from that place, and inmates doing something like that. And then the issue is, how did that person get the device that he used, and how did he get that information and all that? So there's need for the custodial centers to rise up to this challenge, to put an end to it.
Does it?
To say the truth, our country is in a serious rut if we are to actually tell ourselves the truth. Because if you check it, I mean, this is a custodial center. This is where people come to will I say seek penance? Let me just use that word, seek penance, to be better, to be rehabilitated. But instead, you see them, when they get there, they get worse. Okay, now they are equally breeding cyber criminals in the prisons or the custodial centers. Sorry. So how is it possible? It can only be possible through the corrupt practices that's going on in these custodial centers. Like, in an average Nigerian knows that there's corruption is deep rooted in every sector in this country. So at the end, like I always say, it's a personal choice. We all have to sensitize ourselves. We all have to tell ourselves the truth. This thing that we're doing, is it good? Because okay, the people that are in charge of these prisoners, they actually benefit, like they have will I say that they have a court, or they benefit from these crimes, these cyber crimes that these prisoners actually undergo while they are dead. They benefit a lot. I'm their ICT officer, and I've heard a lot of stories from my workplace regarding like how these people are making a lot of money through these cyber criminals in the prison, and these are people that are meant to be getting help. So it's a systematic problem. It's a very big problem in this country. We all need to look inwards and ask ourselves that simple truth: how can we make this country better? Honestly, we all need to search inwards and do the necessary, like do the right things in order to make Nigeria, in order to turn, just to make this country a great nation. I want to say.
You're listening to People's Forum on 92.5 Enugu's Dream FM. We've been talking about cybercrime and the effects it has on youth. What should we do better now that ICT has become the new normal? Maria, is it something that schools could also consider while they are teaching students virtually? Is this something schools can consider? Yes, you've said parents should do their best in supervising. What about schools?
Okay, there is need for cyber education also on the part of our education.
To be included in the curriculum?
Yes, in the curriculum, because if the students are well informed, they are well educated on this, then they'll be able to make an informed decision, knowing that if they perpetrate a particular act, is going to be seen as crime, and they are going to be punished for that. So if they should incorporate cyber education in the school curriculum, it will go a long way to giving the students the right direction, the right orientation to think straight and to think forward in order to make their lives better. So there is really need for government and the Ministry of Education to come together to include or incorporate cyber education in the school curriculum, right from secondary, from junior secondary level to and above. I think they need that education in this, especially in this era of technological advancement. They need that education.
You are listening to People's Forum on 92.5 Enugu's Dream FM, 0809 8888 925 or 0902 0020 Join the conversation on our social media platforms. The Facebook page is 925 Dream FM, the Twitter handle at Dream925 FM.